I hear you did not like Game 4, which was rough and physical, and it was chaos, and you didn't like it.
Well, it was an awful watch, unless, of course, you had money on the Cavs. It was 86 points in the first half is not normal. I mean, it was the perfect storm of things. First, they shot the eyes out of the basketball, right? 7 threes in the first quarter.
Right.
Then it was almost as if somebody forgot to tell the Golden State Warriors, hey, we're going back to the officiating where they can be really physical and you cannot. The Cleveland Cavaliers shot 22 first-quarter free throws. First-quarter free throws. I mean, LeBron James is posting up. He's creating contact, and a foul was called on the defense on Andre Iguodala. In the NBA, one of the problems is you can't score in the post because defenders are allowed to put an arm bar. He didn't even put an arm bar up, and he got called for a foul. The officiating was bad. Golden State wasn't ready to play. Cleveland was. They were more physical, and they ran like you were running a fever, they were running a fever only on the basketball floor where they could not miss in the first half. It was just 86 points in the first half. That's not normal. I don't think it was all Cleveland's greatness. Some of it was Golden State was soft, and a lot of it was absolutely putrid, embarrassing officiating.
Well, sometimes, if you use the same officials this is why the NBA does this. They don't want a Joey Crawford Duncan thing, where if the Spurs lost, you're like, Crawford hates him. I've been told the NBA keeps their top 10, 12, but they don't want the same 3 guys doing every game.
No, but the point is, like, Kyrie Irving can't dribble the ball and no one touch it and go in the backcourt and it not be called over and back. Like, there's just some blatant missed calls. And, some of the Draymond Green stuff where was a technical called on him in the first half or not called on him in the first half?
You felt the game was out of control.
I thought it was completely out of control. And I thought, look, this is the way we talked about this. This is the only way Cleveland can win.
No, quite. This was officiating for Cleveland.
Correct. It's the only way they can win is if it's super, super physical and they're the aggressor and you make Golden State back away. And by the way, with all this legacy talk about this Warriors versus the old teams, this is what all the old teams are saying. They're all saying, look, Steph Curry can't play at a high level if this is the way it's officiated. They're still not even hand-checking, and he does not look the part even close. Forget MVP of an All-NBA or even All-Star player.
I could make an argument that Julian Edelman would not play in the NFL 15 years ago, and now the Patriots, who don't want to pay anybody, just paid him, that you do have to credit that some players, Wes Welker, inside the hash marks is a great player. Right. Outside, he's not an NFL player. So I've always you're a small guy. The game would be much more beneficial to Doug Gottlieb today than when you got pushed further out and pushed further out. I can't, in today's world of rules, Steph is a monster to face.
No question. And that's really how we have to frame the argument for the Warriors. Right?
As far as best team stuff.
Yeah. I mean, look, we want to say, Draymond Green's a Hall of Famer. No, he's not. Watch the games. Cleveland is making Draymond Green beat them. When he gets the ball and brings the ball up the floor, they're making him score. He can't. He's not physically capable. That's not what he does. He is a superstar role player. He is not a Hall of Famer.
Is he as good as he's more skilled than Dennis Rodman, though, isn't he?
More skilled, but he's not the rebounder. He's not the defender. Dennis Rodman was a 2-time. People forget when one of the reasons that the Detroit Pistons won back-to-back titles, he was 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He was not only a ferocious rebounder, but he could guard any position before 6'7" guys could guard any position. He was ridiculous. He was a much better defender, but there's some similarities there. The difference is Draymond can make more shots and can pass better. Whereas Dennis Rodman never shot because he couldn't. He didn't have to. But the point is, if you look at the great Lakers teams with Kareem and Worthy and Jabbar, their fourth best player is Byron Scott. Byron Scott's a better player historically than Draymond Green is. You look at
yes.
Right. So the point is that the depth is not the same now as it was then. Salary cap has created that. And then, as you point out smartly, that you don't create the best team for this overwhelming. Golden State Warriors don't have an overwhelming roster. They have an overwhelming roster for the way that basketball is played today.
And that's why I always say this about New England. People think I'm a homer. I say that historically, they're not close to the Steelers.
No way.
And I don't even know who could start in the front. Dante Hightower maybe gets in the...
Well, this is... Rob Parker, he was really close. He was making a very smart point about who you're playing against. But then I thought he lost me when he was talking about Alabama now is the most dominant for their era.
Yes.
But we have 128 Division I football teams now. Okay, every kids wants to go and they want to go and play right away. So Alabama is still loading up with the 5 stars as backups, but everybody else, once you get past their starters, it's very, very slim because you only have 85 scholarships.
It used to be USC would take a kid just to keep him away from UCLA.
Well, Oklahoma would do the same with Texas, and Nebraska was a drug.
They would never play it. That running back now goes to Oklahoma State and is B.J. Hunter, whoever the good kid was, and makes it to the NFL. They would just bury him at Oklahoma. Doug Gottlieb joining us. See, now, when you look at the pressure tonight, and I said this to start the show, I think the pressure's all on Golden State tonight because I think if Golden State loses, they've got self-doubt.
Yeah. I was thinking of you Friday twofold. One, because you were sick, and I was thinking about, like, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You know, is he dead? Is he dying? What's going wrong with him? But
I
also,
thought he had LeBronitis.
Also, because it's also a very good possibility. He would have shown up to work on Saturday, remarkably, Kristine, because LeBron played so well. But I was also thinking of this line, coal into diamonds, right? Remember where he's so tight he turns coal into diamonds?
Right.
That's what will happen with Golden State if they lose tonight.
I totally agree.
Like, it's not must win, but you should really win this game because you don't want to go from losing with a 3-1 lead to being the first team in NBA history to lose with a 3-0 lead. I mean, the series was over until it wasn't. So, is there still pressure on Cleveland? Yeah, like you don't want to get eliminated, you don't want to get dusted off. But I agree with you. Richard Jefferson said it. He's right. And you can see that Cleveland has gone to the mode of we can't beat him straight up. So the way to beat him is to talk to him, to give him an elbow, to try and get him a tee, to be more physical than him, and make their ancillary parts beat us. And that's the game plan. And Golden State's going to have to show that they can work through that physicality and work through the mental block of finally finishing off the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Now, this is one of the things that I disagree with the basketball world. And I said this. Wives are always the most valuable people in a home. The husband can make more, be stronger, this. But mom leaves for 4 days. You can't find the diapers. You don't know the vet's number. Like, my house falls apart. My wife's gone for 2 days. And I leave for a month. She's like, oh, I got so much done.
Yeah.
She leaves for an hour. I'm like, I couldn't get anything done. Is that literally the only player tonight that I say, he didn't play well. And you're like, oh, if LeBron doesn't play well, it's all. In fact, they lose huge. The stat, which is amazing to me, Golden State's not beating Cleveland. LeBron per 100 possessions, the Cavs have outscored the Warriors. In the 26 minutes he's been off, Golden State has outscored them by 49 points in 100 possessions. Can't we just admit LeBron's the most valuable player in the world?
If you simply want to go by plus-minus, you can, but plus-minus is not always telling. Klay Thompson had the best plus-minus of bad plus-minuses for the Golden State Warriors. He was not the most valuable. He wasn't the best player. Kevin Durant was. He had a -22. Klay had a -7. So it's not always telling. Part of it is, again, the makeup of their team. Part of it is Tyronn Lue's done a terrible job of, one, putting the right lineup in place when he comes out, and two, like, just because Golden State will go on a little bit of a run over the last 2 games, because really the first 2 games, it didn't matter much, right? I mean, like, they were getting beaten when he was out of the game in the fourth quarter. The game was over at the end of the third quarter, games 1 and games 2. So part of it is on Tyronn Lue. Part of it is on Tyronn Lue also to have some patience where if the bench doesn't play well, he catches a breath and let them make a couple of shots. But part of it is in the makeup of the roster where this is why we said it's so hard for them to beat Golden State. He's the only guy that can guard Durant, and you take him out, and it's Richard Jefferson, and Durant's eyes get, big like hubcaps, seeing Richard Jefferson, who wanted to retire at the end of last year, guarding him. I think there's a bunch of problems there. I would also point out, like, look, Kyrie Irving's really as much a reason. Like, you can give me all the stats, but throw out game 1, game 2. They lost, they got housed. I don't really care what he did in games 1, games 2. Kyrie Irving carried them in the third quarter and was, as much as LeBron was very good in game 4, Kyrie was spectacular.
Unbelievable.
He was completely and utterly unguardable. He has been the best one-on-one scoring guard in the league. And when he makes his threes, he's ridiculous. And that's what he was. So, like, we should give credit to LeBron. But Tristan started to rebound. Kevin Love hit some shots. But more than anything, Kyrie Irving carried them in the third quarter in game 3 and carried them in that first half in game 4. And that was the real reason, plus minus be damned, that they won that game.
Okay, let's shift to something else I'm interested. Listen, the Lakers are going to draft Lonzo Ball. And now I hear he's not in shape.
I'm not convinced they are.
Oh, Doug, don't tell me that.
I'm not convinced they are.
I'm not buying season tickets for Josh Jackson.
Okay, but
I'm not buying them for Markelle Fultz.
First of all, there's a misconception here that fans buy season tickets for a player. Fans buy season tickets. Yes, did they buy him for Kobe? Sure, after a long and illustrious career. Oh, yeah, by the way, what'd that get him? Okay, you buy because the team's going to win. And what I've been told is that Luke knows he has to change the culture of that team, and he wants tough kids, and he wants winners. And now Lonzo does have a reputation of being a winner. He won, I think, 62 in a row in high school, and he won in AAU. And he turned around UCLA from a team that didn't make the NIT to a team that made the second weekend in the NCAA tournament. They were, I wouldn't say they were disappointed. I've been told they were a little underwhelmed by his workout. Now, there's a lot to it. He's not really a workout guy.
He's a passer distributor.
Right, and he's a five. He did shoot it pretty well. I think they were a little disappointed that he wasn't in better shape. They shut it down after about 40 minutes. There's a little bit of the circus over he was wearing Adidas. Like, why do you have the big baller brand and you have a commercial for it and you're not actually wearing the shoe? Like, that's that whole thing is weird. He's a really nice kid, but I don't kid yourself now. They're going to do a complete vetting of Lonzo, Dennis Smith, the kid from NC State. De'Aaron Fox is going to be in this week. And they're also going to look at Josh Jackson because what Luke Walton knows the team needs is need winners and needs tough guys. Needs somebody, winners, tough guys. And he doesn't have enough of it. And Josh Jackson won't be your best player. And I don't think he makes everybody better as a passer the way that Lonzo Ball does. But he can make everybody better because every day in practice, every day in a game, he's your toughest player.